Thank you. So before we start, let's just warm up a little. I don't know anyone in this room except for Leo and Hani. So let's go around the room introducing ourselves. Please use the language that you're comfortable with. I do have Leo and Hani here to translate if need be. Myself, I can speak in Tamil, English, and Malay, so we should be okay. To get the ball rolling, I'll introduce myself. So my name is Archana. I've been in the space of diversity for about more than 10 years now. But at the moment, working more in the corporate world and trying to design programs to acknowledge and break discrimination and create policies and systems that better serve people in corporate organizations. And today I'll be a facilitator in this room. Yeah, with that, I will pass the ball to maybe Shakir. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Shakir. So basically, I'm running a collective called Filament. If you guys know about Filament, so what we do at Filament is basically providing sort of like a platform or technical support for artists, basically ranging from new media arts to digital art mostly. So at the same time, I'm doing my own freelance work. So the collective is another sort of side project that we do lah. Yeah. So that's me.
Thanks, Shakir. Do you want to call out the next person?
Ken, you can go to Hongji.
Hi, I'm Hongji. Hi, everyone. I know I don't have friends here so far, okay, but it's okay. Good to make new friends now. It's just that I'm a dancer from Dua Space Dance Theatre. The company has been established for 23 years. It's actually established by Mr. Anthony and Aman Yap. I'm one of their dancer, full-time with the company, and I'm also the assisting artistic director of the company. So basically now I'm handling all the plannings and all the execution of upcoming projects lah. And also the company actually survived solely on performance previously, but then when it comes to pandemic, then slowly we have to diverge into different things. I think everybody does. then slowly we're finding a way lah. And this year we are pretty lucky that we get a funding support from Cendana, and then that's why when Julia approached us to sort of invite us to take part in this conversation, we sort of say yes directly, because we're looking for a click to sort of for us to sort out our mind and our thoughts on this also. Okay, so we'll discuss more on that later.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks so much. Yeah, thanks, Hongji. Please call out the next person to introduce himself.
Maybe Jezwan.
Hai semua, Jezwan dari Ipoh. Saya salah seorang pengasas projek Rabak Multidisiplin Artist Collective. Been around since the late 90s, since I was teenager. Jadi banyak transformation lah, because I started off as underground musician with all this hardcore punk underground scene, and then the literature scene, and then the contemporary art scene, and until now lah, keep on doing all these things. Banyaklah benda yang telah dilalui yang mungkin boleh kita kongsi sikit pendapat, because saya melihat perubahan scene art daripada 90-an ketika saya masih remaja sampai sekarang ni 2021, which is daripada segi kita sebagai pekerja seni, dia banyak perubahan yang positif, terutama when it comes to collective, which is masa 90s collective dia bukan lagi satu budaya yang remaja muda-mudi kita familiar, tapi sekarang ni orang dah lebih familiar dengan kolektif dan ekosistem. So itu antara benda yang kita dekat projek Rabak fokus buat lah, celebrate youth culture, ecosystem and kolektif. Terima kasih.
Thank you, Jezwan. You want to call out the next person yang seterusnya?
Miss Straw.
Thanks.
Hi.
Hello.
Okay. Hi semua. My name is Straw. That's my stage name. That's not my real name. I am a singer-songwriter, independent, and I only got to do this full-time since last year. I am trained as a designer, multimedia designer. I sort of studied design so that I can earn money and play music. And yeah, I kind of, so there's a lot of little small circles of musicians, different scenes and all that. And I don't belong to any of it. I just like campur sini, campur sana, you know, here and there. And so I kind of don't find my own kind of belonging. So I think this platform is great because I get to know more people, and I like what some of you guys mentioned about, you know, the ecosystem and the collective and some things that you guys do together with other people. And yeah, I do look forward for that. What else? Yeah, I guess that's about it. It's nice to meet all of you.
Thank you, Straw. So Leo and Hani, you can introduce yourselves as well. I think it'd be good for everyone to know you.
Right, then I'll go first. Hi everyone, my name is Leo. I was previously a software engineer, and last year I decided to take a career break to pursue my passion in the art industry. But because of the lockdown and the COVID-19, not everything went according to plan, but I did not regret my decisions at all, because with my decision, I spent more time in the art industry, and I get to know a lot of people like Archana and Kongsi KL. I also joined some musical theater classes and get more connections and networking from there as well. So I'm like a newbie in the industry, and nice to meet you all.
Thanks, Leo. Hani, yourself?
Hello, I'm Hani. So sekarang actually I'm doing my internship with Kongsi KL, and this is my 5th month working in Kongsi KL. So yeah, I also a newbie in this industry. So yeah, I think that's all.
All right, thanks, Hani. And thank you, everyone, as well. I think it's good to know that in this room we have people from different spaces, different art forms as well, dance, music, running spaces. And some of you, I think, come from a long way of how the art space has changed and transformed over the years and even decades. So that'll be interesting to hear in terms of your perspective and experience as well, and to curate that and to list that to share with Chandana. So I just want to go around the room to ask funding and also the audience being the priority here. So in your own opinion, what do you think is like the bigger priority? What do you want to start this conversation with? Yeah, anyone can unmute and share your opinion. Yep. Yes, Jezwan.
Saya rasa mungkin baik kalau kita mula bercakap tentang collaboration antara kolektif dan mewujudkan satu ekosistem yang alternatif. Sebab contoh, even bila terjadi benda macam ni, kita semua berharap pada Cendana. Faham tak? Sepatutnya kalau kita banyak kolektif, even Project Rabak sendiri, we build our own ecosystem in Perak until our government dan all those corporate lah apa semua tu believe in us, because we have our own circle and ecosystem in Ipoh. Jadi dekat Ipoh not just Project Rabak. Maybe we antara yang the one that started the youth culture movement back in 2011, but kemudian bila budak-budak ni semua tumbuh mekar bersama, kita ada our own ecosystem sampai satu tahap kita in the first masa dulu kita tak approach state tau, tapi sampai bila people keep on datang Ipoh sebab Ipoh banyak festival apa semua, jadi at one point state government yang approach us nak buat benda with us. So let's say macam tourism Perak, they used to fund Project Rabak to do 7-week festivals, things like that. So saya berfikir kalau kita mempunyai satu ekosistem yang kukuh, mungkin kita punya masalah ni tak sebesar sekarang. Sekarang ni kita banyak kolektif, kita banyak communities, tapi kita tak lepak. Semua macam buat benda masing-masing kan. Semua macam kenal, pernah dengar nama, tapi kita tak pernah tak pernah ada benda yang kita nak buat untuk menghubungkan jaringan tu lah. Jadi saya fikir kalau kita boleh mewujudkan suasana yang begitu, kita akan jadi satu scene arts yang sangat kental lah. Sebab saya mengambil kira, saya mempunyai hubungan dengan Indonesia punya art scene semenjak 2005. Jadi Indonesia punya scene, dia tak berharap sangat kepada government dia tau. Kan macam kita sikit-sikit nak pergi kementerian, nak pergi ni, tak dapat duit kita macam apa lah, kerajaan tak dapat kan. Macam projek Abak, bila kita start, even bila saya dulu start, even sebelum saya buat projek Abak, saya memang in the first place, saya letak my mindset yang kerajaan memang takkan tolong je. So that's not my option. So my option adalah I have to build my own movement, my own ecosystem. I have to find my ways. Macam mana aku nak pergi international dan connect dengan orang-orang ni. Jadi I learned a lot from my friends in Indonesia, especially if you guys ever heard about the art collective called Ruang Rupa. Yes, so I've been friends with them since 2005. So they currently mungkin boleh dikatakan antara the most popular artist collective in Asia kot sekarang, because they will be creating the next documentar next year. Yeah, so I learned a lot from them. Jadi Indonesia ni, dia lagi way banyak gila kolektif. Dia not just every city, major cities tau. Even all those small district, dia ada kolektif dia. Contoh macam kita, Teluk Intan, Muar, Batu Pahat, Segambut, Segamat, benda-benda yang dia ada kolektif dia. And all these collective, if let's say if they went to Jakarta, they work together. They went to Bandung, they work together. So dia orang berjaya create semua benda ni. Jadi tanpa sokongan daripada kerajaan pun dia boleh buat benda ni. Dan dia orang punya target lepas tu, dia orang learn how nak buat dengan cara yang sangat profesional. And that's why jawapan untuk kenapa artis Indonesia banyak bermain di liga antarabangsa sebab dia orang buat benda ni sendiri. Dia orang tak berharapkan kerajaan kena hantar aku pergi Berlin, kerajaan kena hantar aku pergi New York, tak. They learn how untuk establish diri dan learn the craft, love the skill, then all the management punya benda lah. So saya banyak belajar daripada situ masa tu. But not until 2011 baru saya rasa macam okay, I want to form my own multidiscipline collective. Sebab saya rasa masa tu saya just main music lah. We go to Indonesia, we tour, main band. But I just tengok masa tu belajar. Oh macam ni cara dia orang buat. Bila saya tengok dia orang meeting masa tu I remember Ruang Rupa punya meeting. And dia orang meeting macam really macam serious meeting, macam santai. Dia santai but macam kita kau meeting mamak kan, macam meeting balik rumah dah lupa dah apa yang kita meeting. Jadi daripada situ saya belajar. Sampai at one point saya cakap I want to do something yang not just music, because saya menulis juga. I'm a writer, I'm a video artist as well. Saya professional poser aku. Saya banyak buat banyak benda lah. So saya fikir okay, at one point saya nak buat satu benda, projek Abak, and our focus to do festival, exhibition, to promote young artists, to bagi ecosystem lah, to create the ecosystem for the artists to play around, to play with. And then daripada situ lah kita belajar sikit sampai kita buat ada international exhibition, international collaboration, kita kenal funders luar. Jadi bila kita macam tu, bukan nak kata kita senang, kita tak senang juga, tapi at least bila ekonomi Malaysia gawat, kita ada juga projek kita yang daripada luar, duit pound atau duit dolar yang tak terefek dengan ringgit kan. Jadi benda tu saya rasa if kita boleh kongsi semua orang and we can rise together, jadi kita mungkin lebih senang kot. Terima kasih.
Thanks Jazwan. I think that's a very good point. The independence, building that independence and professionalism as a artist or culture worker, right? So you don't depend, jangan harapkan government je, tapi how you can create that management style to stand on your own and build that as probably as a business as well, so that you can survive. And I think another interesting point was the networking. Cara Indonesia and Indonesia, the collectives network and look for external funders. I think there's a lot of mindset there as well in terms of building that as a work, and it's as equivalent to every work that's out there. So it's not like sometimes I think locally, if I'm correct, sometimes artist work can be seen as a hobby. So like how Jason said, it can be very laid back, santai, tapi santai without coming out with the outcome.
In the end dia
It's
tak jadi apa
efficiency.
tak?
Yes.
Di akhirnya dia tak jadi apa, tu yang kenapa saya rasa mungkin ramai antara kita tahu banyak kawan kita yang berpotensi, tapi tiba-tiba dia bila pergi kerja dia give up sebab dia tak boleh breakthrough. Dia tak boleh breakthrough, dia give up, pergi kerja lah. So bila pergi kerja biasanya bila dah dapat paycheck every month dah, that's it lah kan. Macam okay lah aku dah dapat duit gaji semua, so why nak struggle lagi itu bab benda tu.
Betul.
And for me personally, kenapa saya perlu ambil ni the professional way, sebab saya ingat masa zaman saya main band, masa tu kita tak tahulah proposal apa semua ni kan. Kita rock and roll kan, siapa peduli pasal proposal semua ni. Jadi my band dapat offer banyak lah, macam pernah sign dengan label New York, pernah offer main kat UK dengan Perancis, tapi kita tak boleh pergi. Sebab apa? Kita tak ada duit. Jadi bila kita tak ada duit, kita nak minta fund, kita tak tahu. Macam mana nak minta fund, nak minta daripada siapa? Jadi selepas itu saya fikir, okay, bila saya buat kolektif tu, saya kena make sure yang kita belajar. Kalau ada artis dapat jemputan pergi Jepun contoh, walaupun organizer Jepun let's say tak boleh nak bayar dia, tapi kita boleh cari duit, kita tahu nak minta duit daripada mana untuk kita pergi. So tu antara crucial things for me untuk kita semua learn lah, belajar macam mana untuk kita go melepasi batasan tu. Jangan terlalu harap government, jangan terlalu harap cendana, jangan terlalu harap siapa-siapa kan. But if kita ada our own ecosystem, kita kukuh, dah simple lah. Kita let's say in this group lah, contoh Syakir pandai buat proposal, contoh Hongji pandai buat account, contoh kan, Chana boleh tulis paper, and then if we combine, kita dah boleh settle benda dah misalnya. Tapi because we don't work together, so tu banyak masalah datang kat kita lah. So and then we multitask. Bila multitask kita tak fokus lah kan, semua macam okay lah aku kira account cicai-cicai lah. So itu aku mungkin antara benda yang saya belajar lah, yang saya rasa mungkin kita boleh baiki.
Yeah. Thanks, Jason. Before we continue, just want to acknowledge we have one more person in the room. Hi, Palan. Do you want to introduce yourself? Yeah, no worries, no worries. Do you want to introduce yourself? Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for waiting. My name is Palan. I'm a theatre maker, performance maker, based in KL and Penang. And yeah, I'm glad to be part of this conversation today. Sorry, thanks for waiting, everyone.
No worries. Yeah, thank you. So we're just warming up. We did a round of introductions and then just hearing out what could be the initial point of discussion before we go into the funding and also the audience aspect that we want to curate points about for Cendana. So Jason shared some good points about he professed from his experience of working with collectives in Indonesia and observing how they work in Indonesia. He shared about networking, how the collectives that work with one another are more independent, have this I would also say have this motivation to sort of go beyond. So they look for external funders. They are not dependent with government agencies and things like that. Yeah, so just drawing those points, just want to hear from everyone else as well. I think, yeah, Hongji, you have something to say.
Maybe I'll just add on I'll just continue from what Jason said. Hi Jason, I'm Hongji. Saya dari Perak juga, Kuala Kangsar. But then my practice here is based in KL lah, dekat Selangor. Okay, so actually I totally agree with what Jason said about forming your own network, of getting support for yourself, not depending on the government. Because I've been with the company for 12 years, but then the company has been running for 23 years. But all along the time, they just took some projects from the maybe from Istana Budaya and maybe some of the government, JJKN, but they never received funding from the government. So, and then for all the performances that we did overseas and all the local productions that we have done, all are self-funded. And maybe by commission as well sometimes, but none of them are from government. So, and one of the core reason, one of the model that the company runs is that we provide performance. We hire dancers full time working with the company. We provide training, and then we get them prepared for performances. We choreograph for them, and then we sort of sell the performances to corporates, to associations, to persatuan. Because DualSpace is actually very Chinese community based, so that's why we have a very deep connection with all those persatuan, Chinese people, old people, they have a lot of persatuans.
Yeah,
So associations. So we have very good connections with them, and then every time when they need a performance, they'll call us, and then they'll pay us, even if it's not a very huge amount, but then we were still willing to do so, sort of just to establish a connection with them. And then these are the connections and the relationships, the network that supports DualSpace all these years around, even without any funding, any support from the government. So I think it's very important because especially during this pandemic time as well, many of these old friends of the company even called Mr. Anthony, our director, to ask what they can help, any assistance they can offer to help the company to survive this time. I think all these connections you have to start early, bit by bit. That's how I see local bodies, collectives, artists have to survive because we all know government have something bigger, so-called bigger things in their list to take care of us. Then art is always the non-essential part at the other end. So we have to jaga sendiri lah for that sure. And also, I've heard a sharing from a friend of mine. She's actually Malaysian, but then she sort of studied in Ireland, and then she came back to give a bit of sharings of her experience there. She joined the roundtable somewhere around the European countries as well. And then when she talked about how Malaysian artists are surviving with our own means and method, not depending on the government and fundings, the overseas artists are very astonished because none of them survived that way. All of them, mostly, I think, I couldn't say all, majority of them admit that withdrawing the governmental support, withdrawing the fundings from the government agencies, they cannot do, they do nothing because they do not have the ability to survive. So I think even though it's tough for us as a Malaysian artist to work in such a way, but then it's a benefit, it's a credit for us also. Yeah, maybe they even say they have to learn from us. How do we survive without governmental support?
Disadvantage there, I suppose. But it's good to hear that we are admired outside for the right reasons. Thanks, Hongji. Yes, Troy, I see you unmute.
Yeah, I'd like to agree with what Jae-Zwan and Hongji say as well. I guess one thing about being independent on our own, it gives us more space in creativity. Like in Malaysia, our censorship and a lot of limitations from government is still quite not so mature yet. Even though I get some funding from Cendana before, but I will think, oh, what if I say something about government? Will they like retract my funding? You know, you'll be scared and all that. So I think that's one good part. And saya nak tanya Jae-Zwan, your sharing sangat menarik lah about the ruang rupa and all that. Saya nak tanya, kau rasa apa faktor yang menyatukan kolektif-kolektif di Indonesia dan apa yang motivate mereka untuk, you know, all what to build the scene together?
Saya rasa yang paling utama kerana mereka orang Indonesia ni dia dah biasa ada kebersamaan tu, the togetherness. Macam kita selalu, even in our classroom kan, kita selalu macam dia geng pandai sikit. Kita dah start tu even daripada sekolah dah. Tapi Indonesia ni dia ada that sense of togetherness. Mungkin kerana mereka membesar dengan negara tu susah, mungkin. Tu satu, saya fikir. Kan duit semua tak cukup, ramai orang susah. So we help each other. So dia dah terbiasa macam tu. Kita Malaysia membesar dengan kita percaya yang konon kita akan jadi negara moden atau maju. Jadi kita akan rasa macam tak apa, kalau aku cakap English lagi baik sebenarnya aku lagi nampak pandai daripada dia. Kita ada that mindset. Lagi satu, itu antara benda yang saya rasa paling utama yang saya perasan adalah kebersamaan tu. And then dan diorang pula kurang masalah macam kita, let's say in our fine art scene, let's say fine art scene, just an example. Kalau ada this one painter yang memang dah really big name, so dia akan ada like I don't know why, tapi kita ada this kind of style suka macam, oh, I'm the legend. Diva.
Taiko.
Ada that thing tau. Macam Indonesia, dia ada juga, tapi dia tak ada sampai extent langsung biarkan dia punya artis muda mati. Just imagine, Indonesia, I have a studio. Project Abad ada studio dekat Jakarta. Ruang Rupa dia ada art school in Jakarta. And then dia ada artist village. So kita ada satu studio dekat situ. Imagine the students at Ruang Rupa's school. Diorang baru je jadi student, belum habis belajar. Dia dah curate exhibition dekat Jakarta punya museum. Maksudnya even before they finish study, dia dah jadi real curator dah. Jadi dia dah even the veterans, the otai, the seniors dah bagi ruang tu dah. Tak perlu tunggu habis belajar, kau jadi curator sekarang. Explore. Macam kita kan, kita kalau let's say I remember kalau nak buat filem, all those filmmaker akan cakap, susah nak buat filem, hang kena belajar teknik kamera ni, kena macam ni, kau tak, jangan lah. Itu kita punya first mindset tau. So bila kita dengar apa, kita pun macam, alamak susah.
Semua benda susah.
Kita punya mindset macam tu lah. Kita punya mindset bukan macam encouraging. Kita punya mindset macam, hang kalau hang nak jadi melukis, hang kena tahu stroke ni. Hang bukan senang-senang boleh masuk galeri je. Nak masuk galeri, hang kena pergi ni, pergi ni. Kita mendatangkan ketakutan kepada artis. Yang mana di Indonesia, bisa aja Pak masuk galeri. Kamu lukis langsung, aku bisa koneksikan kamu sama kurator langsung. Itu Indonesia. Kita ditakutkan lah. Kita dibuat macam, alamak aku tak boleh buat ni. Susah ni. Kan susah macam Straw main music independent. Saya tahu sebab I'm from the underground scene from the late 90s. Saya tahu bagaimana bila dulu kita nak pergi tour Manila semua, kita fork our own money daripada duit-duit show, kita kumpul, kita memang dan kita pergi je lah sendiri. So saya tahu betapa susahnya benda tu. Even bila sekarang, mungkin saya dah senang sikit lah dapat funding sebab mungkin daripada 90s kan buat benda ni. So portfolio tu macam mungkin dah tebal sikit lah kot. Mungkin senang sikit dapat funding. Tapi still, saya tak meletakkan 100%, Coach Nana tak tolong aku, matilah. Kalau government tak tolong aku, apa aku nak buat? Saya tak macam tu. Dan even our system, dia dah agak corrupt sikit lah. I'm an ex-advisor for Cendana. 2 tahun. 2018 sampai 2020 masa Cendana baru set up. Saya antara advisor. So masa saya advisor, saya yang the youngest. Yang lain tu semua Joside, if you guys know Joside, Joshua. Semua yang all these otai-otai lah. Jadi ada beberapa orang yang faham saya. Let's say Joside antara yang faham. Yang dia tahu yang lain tu dia akan take it as business model juga. Dan saya pernah cakap dekat Izan bos Cendana, saya cakap, kalau korang still buat this hierarchy, people still nampak Cendana ni corporate, elite, another class. So dia tak ada beza.
Okay, so the grassroots people will be afraid to approach Cendana.
Yes. And then we know My Creative. My Creative, Cendana is under My Creative. Jadi My Creative ni is all about loan and business. Jadi that's why Cendana punya form borang susah gila, cerewet gila.
Nak mencelah dekat pasal borang tu boleh ke? That's something yang sebab what we do dekat Filament is kita work a lot dengan multimedia dengan new media artist lah. So that one diorang buat light installation, projection mapping, ada yang certain buat collaboration audiovisual juga. Even some of us pun ada dekat itu, our teammate lah. So tu lah, macam apa yang Jason cakap tadi, the hierarchy itself, dia ada this separation on orang yang run dekat the government don't really go down and understand. They are not people from the industry itself. One thing good about Cendana, sebab dia government agency, dia bukan government itself. So ada certain yang memang datang daripada artis. So ada some artists kerja dekat situ and so on, they do understand. But they still bounded with this government punya mindset.
Sebab saya rasa sebab Cendana, Izan, dia kena menjawab dekat orang yang lagi atas.
Betul.
Itu yang saya cakap problem sebab bila benda ni jadi macam business. That's why melalui pengalaman saya, kalau kita isi borang, let's say saya selalu British Council UK ataupun ni, lagi senang daripada Cendana punya form untuk minta.
Our own
Serius,
country
betul.
punya. Betul.
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 Let's say kalau dia orang saldo duit kat kita. Salah satu pengalaman saya kena pergi UK 10 tahun study 10 hari pergi study pasal kolektif. So dia orang bayar saya 3,000 something pound lah. So dia just make sure okay betul Jezwan, oh ni account Jezwan, betul tengok portfolio Jezwan, okay terus dia masuk duit tu.
Nak tambah juga pasal yang duit tu juga, sebab ni apa yang kita orang nak kena go through lah, and some of other recipient yang go through juga, and kita orang pun dah start talking about it, because Cendana punya auditing is sangat-sangatlah menyusahkan sampai I think a lot of artis tak nak ambil Cendana punya grant.
Saya tolak 2 Cendana baru ni, saya dapat 2 saya tolak.
Betul, sama kami pun tolak juga ada sebab kami dah receive satu tapi tak habis lagi reporting dengan auditing.
Sebab dia punya benda tu kan macam
the auditing, they want to even see our transaction. I mean like kita tak, bukannya kita lari and ambil duit ni. We already run the event, either it's physical ke virtual ke, it's already being run. Why can't you actually trust us? I understand that they have this notion of ada orang ambil duit and then hilang, or ambil duit buat filem tak apa-apa or something like that.
Itu yang saya tak faham. If you guys risau orang ambil duit hilang, tapi kan orang tu dah sign contract sama je.
Betul, and also we are actually sharing you masa kita buat event ni. So kalau contoh for example filament, when we do our virtual event, we invite them, bagi diorang is part of the speaker, they are part of it. Kita hantar invitation, it's actually being run. Tapi when we send the report, they say we need to see the transaction. Betul ke you buy but you beli this thing, this projector harga RM500, dekat mana you beli and pakai duit siapa? The problem comes when most of the money that come in, diorang bagi 40% dulu. So we need to fork our own money first. So at certain kita pakai duit sendiri, kita tak pakai duit company. But yang apply the grant is under company. So this is where it comes where, sebab most of the time apa yang kita buat, kita keluar duit sendiri dulu. Like we want to buy cable RM100, buy lah kan. And then we want to claim back, they need to see exact transaction, not even the receipt. So we have the receipt.
Tu saya cuba, okay, mungkin daripada segi duit tu kita cuba berlaku adil kat Cendana lah. Kadang-kadang
betul.
Kadang-kadang saya pun macam okay lah Cendana nak minta receipt semua, I don't mind benda tu. Okay, but tahun ni punya case yang kenapa saya tolak, dapat fund untuk buat satu video art. Jadi kena shooting dekat KL. Saya kat Ipoh kan. Jadi they call me dan cakap berapa tarikh hari bulan nak shooting. Saya cakap saya tak boleh tahu sebab sekarang kan kita PKP. Jadi bila free baru saya pergi. Saya cakap tak boleh, kena tahu tarikh tu bila nak shoot. Saya cakap kalau saya letak tarikh tapi tarikh tu saya tak boleh pergi, macam mana? Kena hantar surat lagi cakap.
Yes, that's another one thing.
Saya cakap
every single time is surat which is
benda
not
tu
our
problem lah. Kan macam saya biasa buat yang letter saya buat dengan British Council UK, dengan Taiwan, Mekong. Jezwan, deadline bulan 9. Saya bagi awak duit bulan Januari. Janji sebelum bulan 9 tu saya hantar dia, dah settle.
Betul.
Kan, so kita pandai-pandai je arrange our old jadual, nak pergi shoot bila, nak apa.
Betul.
Jadi bila dia cakap saya, habis tu kalau saya cakap saya nak pergi shoot 3 Mei. 3 Mei tu PKP, saya tak pergi KL. Jadi macam mana saya cakap? Jadi awak kena hantar surat lagi satu cakap tarikh ni tak boleh. Awak kena pergi tarikh. Lepas tu saya cakap, okay, kalau tarikh yang kedua tu saya tak boleh, kena hantar lagi satu surat. Dia cakap, so saya cakap,
kami ada 4 kali hantar surat.
leceh saya cakap. Kan, so
Dia menyusahkan lah.
I think
and then we get the one really important about this kan, the financial, the reporting, the letter, we don't have time to actually really do our own stuff. We were supposed to actually go down, do the actual artwork itself. We want to do whatever we do lah, singing ke, preparing for it and so on. Kita sibuk buat, we are our time actually spent on doing this managerial admin stuff, which I understand we need to do it, but okay, Cendana say okay, artists should apply, artists should get all this funding. But at the same time, they didn't actually say, okay, you need to do financial, you need to have this reporting and so on and so on. They did say, but it was like the clause yang kat bawah-bawah, which a lot of artists, they say, tak apa, just get the money from Cendana, I can do something. While at the same time, not all artists have this practice. They don't even know this practice pun, kan?
Itu so yang saya, masa saya jadi advisor, saya pernah cakap dekat Cendana, saya cakap, korang kena faham tau, tak semua orang tahu nak tulis proposal atau banner ayat yang cantik. ramai artis dekat kampung, dia banyak idea yang cantik tapi dia tak tahu macam mana dia nak tulis proposal. Jadi kalau korang sendiri tak turun padang, duit-duit ni semua akan dapat dekat orang yang biasa tulis grant lah.
Betul, dekat dia actually the advantage kat siapa yang boleh buat proposal itu.
Siapa yang pandai buat ayat cantik kan, tunjukkan numbers yang cantik-cantik.
Betul.
Jadi sebab saya tahu benda ni, even until now, ramai je artis yang datang kat saya, Jezuan macam mana ni, susah lah, kita tak tahu. Jadi bagaimana kita nak menyenangkan dia orang? That's why saya fikir kalaulah Cendana boleh check out juga kebanyakan form borang overseas, bukan saya kata overseas langsung tak ada yang rumit, ada juga yang rumit, tapi
betul.
kebanyakan antara yang saya rasa yang tak rumit British Council UK, antara yang tak rumit sangat. Yang simple je. Okay, ni bajet, apa nak buat, jadi kita perlu jelas apa kita nak buat. Dia tak ada nak check macam, okay Jezuan, awak nak record album ni 3 bulan. Jadi berapa hari bulan yang awak nak masuk recording tu? Dia tak tanya benda macam tu. Janji 3 bulan ni, pada hang lah kan, hang nak macam mana, 3 bulan ni hang bagi aku projek yang hang janji. So benda tu memudahkan artis. Jadi artis, okay lah, kita tahu kita ada 3 bulan, kita pandai-pandai lah kan, arrange jadual kita 3 bulan.
I think betul apa yang Jezuan cakap. I think the whole keyword is about make easy for artists. Because right now we understand that the whole KPI of Cendana is how many artists they help. But when technically you're not really helping, because to be honest, kita orang when we got funding from Cendana, we spend more money than whatever we get from Cendana. And then the Cendana said, yeah, of course kita funding half of it or a portion of it. Understand, tak apa. But of course lah, takkanlah you don't have your own artist fee, you want to live, all that money spent to actually just run the whole entire thing lah, which actually we don't even manage to just get that to even roll back for other things.
Itu yang saya fikir, let's say tadi macam Syakir cakap, kita juga yang nak kena tulis apa semua kan. Itu pasal kalau kita ada satu ekosistem yang jelas, jadi akan ada orang yang menulis untuk Syakir. Macam projek Rabak, saya tak menulis sangat. Saya ada penulis yang menulis. Tapi saya akan cakap, aku nak buat projek ni ya. Tapi kadang-kadang orang ni tak stick juga. Oh dia caw sebab dia pergi ada kerja lain yang lagi dapat banyak duit ke apa kan. Jadi kita have to ajar budak baru lagi. Tapi kalau kita ada kawan-kawan, let's say Archana, Tera menulis. Walaupun Archana not part of project Abak contoh. Tapi let's say saya ada projek, Archana saya nak buat projek ni, can you help me write? But kalau kita ada this connection, jadi saya rasa mungkin tak ada masalah. Tapi sebab kita tak berinteraksi juga dengan antara satu sama lain, jadi kita loose tau, kita longgar. Lepas tu kerajaan pun tak peduli. So kita nak pergi mana? Jadi semua orang pandai-pandai lah masing-masing hidup.
Rasanya yang that part kan, the part that Jezuan mentioned, betul, is true. Connection and networking is really important lah. And I think
jaringan.
Betul. Ya, kami pun at Filament mostly memang what we do is basically through networking yang kita kenal. All the sponsors yang masuk pun all the networking. Not saying that kita ada cable and so on, but you need to actually find people and gain their trust lah. You need to gain their trust first, then only they want to support you and help you. Or the simplest thing, even tolong tulis report kan. But I think what we can do, what Cendana can do, instead of macam you run panggung rakyat and so on, just for fun fair kind of thing, you come and you have fun. Alongside of panggung rakyat and so on, you have this networking session. It doesn't need to be a very serious thing. It could be just let's do a collaboration between Filament dengan Projek Rabak. We have a few musicians from Projek Rabak, some visual artists from Filament. We can do something together. Create a program that join these a few collectives together, or even just an individual artist. Because right now, like Filament, we know Projek Rabak ada dekat Ipoh, and then kita ada port, kita ada macam lagi kat Ipoh kan. We never have the time to actually go there and do something. If Cendana doing that, kita ada macam reason, now we are part of Cendana, let's go there and buat something sama-sama lah kan. We can go to Penang, do something dekat Penang and so on. We want to do that. Tapi if you wait for us to write the proposal, think about it and find people, talk to other people, it takes more time lah compared to kalau Cendana try to actually merge it together. Like macam I would love to actually Filament work with Duospace. For a dance performance, we can do like projection at the back, and then Duospace can do something with the dance choreography. we did that before with other collective, and even we work with collective in Hong Kong juga. So I think that should be something that Cendana should run. It shouldn't be macam, oh let's celebrate our local tradition, Fun Fair buat dekat Dataran Merdeka, which is nice. That's nice. I went to the panggung raya.
Itu yang saya
could be
saya
some more.
Itu yang saya cuba berlaku adil juga dekat Izan tau. Saya kenal Izan. Izan memang cool. Izan sebenarnya dia memang faham kita. Izan dia director bos channel, dia memang faham kita. But itulah sebab dia pun nak kena menjawab dekat orang lagi atas yang mungkin tak faham artis. Apa yang dia nampak pulangan, artis nak tolak duit. Tapi saya tak salahkan dia orang juga kan, sebab memang ada juga artis yang buat masalah, ambil duit, hilang, tak siapkan kerja kan. Tapi mungkin ada cara lain yang bagaimana untuk kita lebih, even kalau kita minta Gata Institute Malaysia pun, Gata Institute Malaysia pun cool, British Council Malaysia pun cool. Dia tak setegas, kita faham kan, bukanlah kita tak nak Cendana macam loose langsung kan, kita pun faham Cendana punya concern lah. Tapi ada serta-serta benda macam saya cakap lah, macam mana saya nak confirmkan tarikh saya nak syuting sedangkan kita PKP, tarikh pun tak tentu. So benda-benda macam tu je.
Sometimes it's about micro managing kan.
Exactly.
Too limited.
So I think, so if I just were to pause here to reiterate some of the points that came across, just want to summarize so that we are all on the same page as well. There's a lot of micromanaging, as Hong Ji has mentioned, a lot of micromanaging versus governance, right? We need Cendana to sort of oversee and support and provide the infrastructure. Tapi apa yang berlaku is they sort of get into the process of an artist and they're disrupting the process of an artist. Instead of providing what they're supposed to provide, which is the space and the system. So I think we are already steering towards what Cendana can do already. Our conversation is going towards that side. But some of the good points that came across also, besides the networking and providing space, is I think talking about cultural barriers. I think some of the points were, the mindset about the work itself around art and cultural work. So it's seen as more of like a hobby. You do it when you can, but you don't build a business plan or a plan that works and find whatever resources stuff. Whether you need Cendana to support, you need external funding, you need network. So there's no proper thought around it. And the other thing is that I really personally liked was how the older generation or the senior generation sort of hog certain spaces. So macam kalau diorang at the senior position, they're just there and not allowing the younger ones to move up. And it's interesting to hear about how Indonesia is the other way around. They say, come, use our museum. So I think we need to create space. Something that, I'm hearing also is that we need space to be allowed for artists to use or leverage on. And I think this brings about the next conversation around money pretty well, because money is oftentimes seen as just, cash, but money actually represents a lot of things that we are all sharing about right now. It could be a space, it could be a network, it could be an event, it could be the materials that you need to make things happen. It could be that admin support that you need. Jason brought a good point about, I don't do the paperwork. Maybe someone I know in my network can do that. And that is a resource that as an artist, probably you don't need to do. And something that Cendana can think about really, how they can support you better than the mindless paperwork, so that the system can be a bit more allowing of the creative process that artists need to make sure that they're successful in what they do. At the same time, to build that art as an industry in the country. I think a good comparison is how we treat pendidikan seni in school, right? That's a good indicator of how we treat our artists or cultural workers in Malaysia, which is quite unfortunate. So we need to see how systematically we can dismantle the current infrastructure and introduce new ones. So the good thing is Cendana is opening up this avenue to hear us out. So in terms of that money that we want to really talk about, what is that money? So maybe we can start now, narrowing our conversation into what is that money representative of, and what is that we need in our own space to begin with, as a cultural worker, space provider, multidisciplinary artist. Yeah.
I would like to start on that first, because from all the categories that we have now are the independent music, the performing art, the visual arts, and also the craft, the categories. But then I see there's one thing that is missing, the backbones, the support that can be given to the artists, the art industry, because most of the time artists are meant to create. We are good at creating creative contents, ideas, but then you ask us to lay us down to do all those leceh punya paperwork, like writing all these things. It's really tiring. I have to admit, it's really tiring from what I'm doing with the reporting and all the submission of the projects. But I know there's a reason, like Jason said, there's a reason why they want to do it, and I agree with their reason as well somehow. And then doing it once, I can actually recycle the materials and the things that I prepared for a long time. That's the benefit of doing it. But then it's too tiring for me as an artist, as a dancer. I dance for the company, I plan things for the company, then I have to sit down and count cents by cents. That's really killing me. That's really killing me. Then I think one of the part of the funding, it would be great if you can see the funding we can actually channel it to a body or maybe a collective also, sort of the administrative collective that can help the artists to do all these things, maybe to help them to write things up, to help them to get the paperwork done and to get advice on how are we going to do it, because otherwise I can see a lot of artists that have no idea how to proceed with the application, no idea how to deal with and all the reports things. Yeah. So one thing is that, and also the technical support to be given is really very how to say, very crucial, very in need as this time, because we spend most of our time hiring people with technical background, or maybe hiring people to write things up for us, to create visuals for us. But then if this part of this skills are being invested as part of the funding scheme, that it actually can benefit the industry. For example, you're funding a writers group. The writers group can actually help the artists to write things up. And then maybe the artist who needs help, we can approach them, and then to get the service at an appropriate price, not a very sky high price that we have to pay and ended up spending all our money allocated for the fund. So maybe that we can look into that part in the future when it comes to the category of the funding, and also the possibility of creating a new category for the funding.
Yeah, that's a good one. Just want to pause here at the moment as well. Just want to check with Leo. Leo, can we have the screen shared to see some of the discussion points and also some of the ideas that are coming up now? If you're repertorying, or is it Hani?
I'm actually writing down the notes in my Microsoft Word.
Okay, yeah, no worries. Yeah, no worries.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think by the end of this conversation, I will just sum it up and make a very nice points out of everything. I'm just typing and typing right now. Yep.
Yeah.
Itu yang
Right.
berbalik kepada Hongji tadi kan, bila Hongji cakap mungkin kalau ada team yang boleh concentrate untuk menulis saja kan. Itu yang kembali yang kepada saya cakap, kalau kita boleh set up satu jaringan, so kita tak perlu harap cenana pun. Kita punya circle je, kita ada satu team yang boleh, kita boleh tolong Rabak, kita boleh tolong Filament, kita boleh tolong Dua Space dengan menulis. Ada satu team yang, team ni memang penulis. Even kalau kita ada circle tu dah cukup lah. Kita tak perlu nak harap cenana, kita tak perlu nak harap sesiapa lagi kan. Jadi tu yang saya rasa ekosistem lah. Kalau saya sangat percaya terhadap ekosistem tu lah. Kalau kita ada satu ekosistem yang kukuh, memang banyak benda kita boleh mudah lah, lebih lancar. Sebab let's say contoh, kalau kita dah ada ekosistem, kita boleh kenalkan orang dengan each other. Gata Institute Malaysia contoh, saya kenal orang Gata. Check Dua Space ada buat dance. So Dua Space pula mungkin kenalkan saya dengan. So kita semua boleh ada, so kita dah settle dah. One of the reasons masa 90s, di underground scene, walaupun dia underground, dia tak keluar mainstream newspaper ke apa, tapi underground scene masa 90s tu, dia boleh jual album sampai 2,000 keping. Sebab apa? Walaupun dia underground, dia obscure, tapi dia ada connection tau. Pun orang yang duduk dekat Yongpeng pun boleh beli album dekat KL sebab dia ada connection tu. And then bila kita datang ke zaman yang lebih moden, internet semua ni, kita dah lose that connection. Jadi sekarang ni lagi loose lah. So that's why kita even macam aku nak buat ni, aku nak tulis kat siapa, aku nak buat apa macam ni, kita tak tahu benda tu. Jadi kita hanya develop our own circle, like project Rabak, okay, Rabak kita develop our own writer, kita develop our own artist, so kita buat tu je. Kadang-kadang kawan yang kenal kita mungkin ada minta tolong, so kita bagi. Tapi kalau untuk skala yang lebih besar, bagaimana untuk kita buat benda ni jadi kita semua boleh bersama-sama untuk lebih solid kan, lebih kukuh.
Yeah, it's also, I think at the moment in Malaysia, it's siapa kenal siapa lah kan. Even in the film industry, similarly, if you know somebody, or you anak kepada somebody, then you get the project, But we should be actually looking out for more talents, young talents, and giving them those opportunities so that they can, really do new things as well. And that's why sometimes I think the ones who study abroad, macam tak nak balik, even they come back, they go back there as well, because probably, I don't know, I'm just guessing, the collectives and the system really works very different in different countries. Yeah, so definitely the jaringan and the network is a very good point.
Dan bila,
I think, yeah.
bila Archana cakap pasal yang study abroad kan, ini juga ada situasi yang berbeza. Mungkin dia boleh membantu Straw juga untuk Straw punya persoalan pasal Indonesia tadi. Okay. Malaysia punya pelajar, bila dia study abroad, bila dia buat something kat overseas, dia jadi pemuzik ke, dia jadi pelukis ke, dia buat pameran dekat sana, dia langsung tak tahu pun apa yang terjadi dekat Malaysia. Dia tak peduli. Tapi kalau Indonesia, dia orang study luar, dia orang buat pameran kat luar, nama dia orang besar kat luar, tapi dia still alert tentang what's going on dekat Indonesia. Dia still dekat dengan dia punya akar tau. So daripada situ kita boleh nampak Indonesia ni dia sentiasa, okay, aku duduk Jerman ke, aku duduk Iceland ke, aku duduk apa ke, aku still akan pergi makan tempe, aku still akan cakap bahasa Indonesia, aku still akan tahu apa yang tengah jadi dekat Indonesia walaupun aku artis Indonesia dekat Eropah. Kan kita, sebab saya perasan kita ada beberapa artis Malaysia yang belajar kat luar atau duduk luar, membesar kat luar, dan dia tak tahu pun yang contemporary artis Malaysia punya cerita, dia tak tahu pun what's going on. Dia tak ada, mungkin tak ada effort pun nak macam nak check, nak siapa lah kat Malaysia ni, siapa painter, siapa filmmaker dia tak ada. So kita banyaklah terputus lah, tu pasal kita tak kuat lah. Kita banyak connection tu kita putus. Kita punya rantaian tu tak tegang lah. Itu yang membuatkan kita semua terkapai-kapai, semua lemas. So siapa yang lemas, yang pandai berenang ni hidup lah, itu je.
Coming to that point, I would think macam the artists are those that they left Malaysia, but then they don't have the belongingness here, so they don't find the connection to what's happening in Malaysia. So maybe that's one of the reasons.
Betul, saya faham. Tapi automatically korang sedang menjadi salah satu sumber yang dulu korang benci kan. Dulu korang benci sebab korang rasa Malaysia tak bagi korang apa-apa benda. Tapi bila korang pergi, korang pun tengah menjadi benda tu juga dengan tak membantu balik orang yang tengah ada kat Malaysia.
Balas dengan dendam macam.
So dia cycle yang takkan pernah habis lah. Macam tu kan. Jadi itulah saya rasa saya banyak melihat begini contoh band overseas contoh lah, kita ambil band yang besar lah, Sigaros contoh, Iceland. Sigaros bila dia jadi besar, bila dia pergi tour, dia akan bawa opening band dia, band Iceland yang kecil-kecil tu. Padahal Sigaros boleh je kan, macam dia tak peduli macam apa hal aku nak buat budak-budak ni kan. Banyak lagi benda aku nak fikir, tapi dia ada sense tu, dia ada that sense.
I think it's this is a whole other conversation lah. Coming from a psychology and community work background, so this one oftentimes is got to do with our history, being colonized, how we are broken down into different ethnic, and over the decades how we have been in our mindset, we're still pretty much working in that colonized era.
Archana's part. We should invite you to give a talk on this topic.
Tapi maknanya mungkin kita satu bangsa Malaysia yang gagal sebab Indonesia lagi banyak bangsa, lagi banyak suku kaum.
Exactly, but they really respect the differences.
Dan Indonesia pernah kena jajah juga dengan Belanda lah apa semua. So situasi semua similar. Vietnam pernah kena jajah, semua pernah kena jajah. Tapi kenapa dia orang boleh jadi satu bangsa yang mekar lah? Kenapa kita tak? Kenapa kita macam apa apa yang terjadi kat kita ni kan? Macam kita tengah buat apa ni
What
kan?
a conversation to have on Merdeka, right? Just another pause as well. So it's 3:11 now. We're going to have a break at 3:20. Yeah, so we have another 8 minutes. I see Straw, you unmuted as well earlier, and Palan, maybe some of your thoughts as well. Yeah.
Yeah, Straw, you want to go ahead first?
Okay, I'll do a quick one so I can give you space to share. Yeah, I think Cendana is good that they give like one-off funding for people, but it feels like a one-off thing. So maybe they can invest more on like what Hong Jie said, the backbone, and like what Jason said in building the network. So for example, something just came out of my mind. Maybe they can create a website. Since they have websites, they can create a page where you record all the different type of practitioners, all the contacts, so that it's easier for us to find the information at one place, and they report
for dance, but I'm
Yeah.
not sure for the others.
Yeah, so yeah, you can do for dance, music, and different races, different culture, all in one place. And also the fair reporting of different works that has been done and published in one place. So even people who are overseas, or if you want to check what you have done, you want to keep track of what's happening in Malaysia, you can just go to the website and find. Or else we'll just have to Google and see who gets to get the media's attention and to be on the news. Or else you won't find out what's happening in Malaysia, what's on the scene, who has done like amazing stuff, or you have win awards. A lot of us, I didn't win lah, but a lot of people, amazing Malaysians who have win awards overseas, we don't even know. So like maybe they can invest in doing this kind of documentation back end. And also I just thought of like maybe they can create like an app or a service, like a subscription base. Maybe we pay like 50 ringgit a year, so we can pay for the services like admin stuff. So we pay for this fee. We can we can do 3 documentations for us, or we can subscribe, and then they will do a number of accounts for us. So they provide this kind of services. They build this kind of support system for us rather than just a one-off payment. I think that will be, in the long term, might help us even more, and can help more people as well. Maybe that's just some suggestions. Yeah, over to Palan.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Really good points.
Yeah.
I'm going to bounce on what people had mentioned earlier. I think 2 very important things, right? There definitely is a huge language barrier with like the way the forms are being asked to fill up, and the way artists actually speak. Like we don't speak like that. I don't know where they got the sense that Malaysian artists speak like that. Like and I also want to point out, I don't know if Cendana knows this, but like in creating these forms, I don't know if they realize that the kind of artworks or artists that they end up supporting is tied to this elitist thing. Like people who speak like that are not, I mean, it's very hard. Like I feel like, yeah, it's not Malaysian, that's one thing, right? And then another thing, like in translating, right, in the, like we talked about how we hire another body to be this in-between translator, to fill up the forms, to, you know, use this language. When I was working with these funds with Cendana, I kept thinking to myself, first was like how they come up with these questions, because in the initial proposal, all the information is there, but it feels like they keep wanting artists to feed them this information, and that felt a bit like off on their part. Another thing is when I kept thinking about this, the third person, like me, we co-produced it. We kept thinking like, okay, there needs to be this translator person that we can talk to, and then they fill up the forms. And I'm thinking, who hires this translator person? Like, is it a Cendana, like the team that Hong Ji mentioned earlier, right? Is that team curated and hired by Cendana for the every grant they do? So there is a core team that speaks to artists and then gives Cendana the information they need, if they need it to be fed in that way, like in a business manner. If they're still going to hold to that, then, you know, then maybe who hires this in-between person? Because that's not how artists speak, and you're supposed to be helping artists, and it's not helping at all. And I totally agree with the point that we actually spend more money than the money we made. So that's crazy. Another very quick point I'm going to divert to is this. There's now, I think Jason mentioned like British Council, how their things are so easy. Like there's this one, I'm going to send this in the chat, right? This one Culture 360 process-based residency program, and I feel like, you know, it spans over 1.5 months, 1 month, 4 weeks, something like that, and they give you 500 USD, and it's process-based. So I feel like there's another thing is that a lot of the Cendana grants are very product-based, and they're like earlier, I think Shakir also mentioned, right? They completely ignore process and they jump straight to, okay, what's your product? How much is this one? What's your transaction? I'm like, you're completely ignoring the artist. How is this helping artists? This is not how we function. So I feel like and then also another thing is very funny, very scary or something like that, because I think I'm on the other spectrum of Jason. Like I just entered the scene and I'm just started like working with trying to find my own funds and get my network and things like that. And I feel like it's so funny because there is this gatekeeping going on, and another sense of gatekeeping is there's a chunk of money that Chandana is sitting on now, and how do we access that chunk of money, and how do we make sure that chunk of money is not just for a certain type of artist that speaks a certain way, because I feel like all of us also, it's not from Jason sharing, it's something we have to learn. And there is, and I did a diploma in like performing arts, and this was not taught at all. Like it was like when I came out of school, I was shocked, like how come they didn't touch on this at all. Like they touched on writing your CV, this that, but I was like, they never thought about how we're going to get money to make art. Like that was not part of school, so I was a bit shocked. I was like, and you have to learn on the floor. And yeah, I just kept thinking, like, who is in charge of teaching the artist this? And if there is nobody in charge of teaching the artist this, if there is no collective coming up, when the funding body funds the artist, who do they expect the artist to engage with, right? And then another thing is that I was very interested in, how does like this to do with transparency, I think. Like, how can Chandana come up with each of their funds, every fund they come up with, can they come up with a structure or a skeleton of the funding, like an example, like scale wise also, because they just, it's very open, which is good, but it's bad because now there is no governance of scale and pay. And I feel like, I understand they say that it's not supposed to be your whole pay, blah blah blah, but I'm curious to know, from this 20,000 for a project, how much do they think should go to the artists, to producers, to technical people? How much do they think should go to, also how much do they think should go to this translator person, right, who seems to be like a producer type of person who talks to artists and facilitates that communication? But I feel like, yeah, all these gaps, I feel like I would love to address, for them to hear about it, to hear that there's these huge gaps, focusing on product more than process, and also language lah. Yeah, like I don't know, I never met an artist who speaks like that. Oh, actually, the only people who speak like that I know of are very privileged, and artists who are very established and get called by galleries and things like that. And I'm like, but that's not what they're doing. Like they're funding Malaysian artists from every walks of life. But yeah, so I feel like that's one thing lah.
Okay, short lah sikit untuk penutup saudara Rehat. Okay, Palan, saya kongsi satu situasi untuk menunjukkan betapa sukarnya nak meminta benda ni. Cendana obviously dia orang tahu saya kan, sebab saya dia orang punya penasihat, bekas penasihat 2 tahun. Masa Cendana baru nak set up, masa tu Cendana belum buat, baru nak set up, Izan call me up and saya jadi penasihat dia orang 2 tahun. Obviously dia orang tahu apa saya punya cred, apa saya buat. Kemudian 2019 saya buka studio in Jakarta, art studio. Jadi studio saya tu untuk promote Malaysian artist pergi masuk Indonesia, buat pameran ke apa semua. And then saya tanya dekat Izan, Cendana, apa yang Cendana boleh tolong untuk bantu saya sustain studio ni dekat Indonesia, sebab saya rasa ini first artist yang pergi luar buat studio untuk nak bawa masuk artist. Jadi dia cakap, dia tak ada, maksudnya dia tak ada perbincangan untuk duit untuk nak pergi ke situ. Tapi saya terfikir, tapi kan korang yang boss, you can decide, Jason ada buat satu benda. Why don't kita ambil sikit untuk support dia at least 6 bulan. Okay, dekat sini saya nak cakap, even dia orang kenal saya, even dia orang tahu apa yang saya buat, still saya susah nak dapat duit tu. Still dia orang macam, kalau kita tahu kawan aku buat ni, aku bagi dia duit sikit. So that's how susah kot kan. Maksudnya kalau even saya yang dia orang kenal pun ada masalah macam tu. So apa tak lagi yang mungkin
I totally agree. Like and also this gap that you mentioned earlier between like old school practitioners and newbies, right? I recently got an opportunity to bridge that gap with a practitioner, and working with her for like 3 years. And even she's very established in the field of dance, and she's very established in this one. I think that was the one that woke me up. Like if she's struggling, I'm thinking, oh my god, I'm dead. Like I don't even have the connection she has. I don't have the network she has. And everything I know, she's been very grateful to teach me. So I feel like, oh my god, I'm very privileged to have that connection. And I know that I'm a step ahead of my peers because I had the connection. I feel like, how come this thing isn't nurtured more? How come, that kind of thing? And Correct. This one, like, it's very scary because if she is having, if people who are very established are having trouble,
Yeah.
with all the experience, then there is definitely something wrong with the system, and it's
Yeah.
something we should address.
That's
Yeah.
why I think we have to straighten up our ecosystem lah. Kan? So that's why macam saya bila Cendana tak support, okay lah tak apa, tapi saya ada my option yang lain. Saya ada source yang lain. Cumanya kalau Cendana support dia bonus lah kan sebab korang terwujud untuk menyokong artis Malaysia. Itu cerita dia kan. Jadi bila korang terwujud untuk menyokong artis Malaysia, jadi saya datang kepada korang untuk minta lah pertolongan tu. Tapi dia tak support. So okey lah, tak apalah sebab saya still ada pilihan yang lain. Tapi pilihan yang lain tu mungkin saya dapat setelah berapa tahun street cred tu. Kan? Mungkin ada orang yang ada bernasib baik dia boleh dapat setahun dua dia dah boleh ada connection. Tapi macam saya mungkin sebab daripada si teenager late 90s tu saya dah decide macam aku nak jadi seniman je. Aku memang takkan kerja 9 to 5. So saya dah ada pemikiran yang jelas tu. So just apa-apa saja saya buat pun saya kena struggle lah. Just explore, troker. So for Palan jangan give up dulu lah.
Yeah, but I think this brings about an important point as well. Like after how many years or decades, the way that the system works is still the same. So if you know someone, then that's great, but you still have to put in the same effort that this person had put in years ago. So nothing has changed and everything is so disintegrated, kan? Because everyone is working on their own. So I think the collective in a way and the platform like Straw mentioned, even online can help sort of remedy that to a certain extent. So the next part of the conversation is really going to help us to identify, I think, to hear you out as well. So what are other ways that you think Cendana can come in and provide this infrastructure, and what is it in terms of the infrastructure? Do it, but what? In what way? Do you need materials? Do you need spaces? Sometimes you need to pay. I think almost all of you have mentioned you put in more money than you're actually earning. So what are you earning? How are you surviving at the end of the day? I think that really matters. And also the other part of the conversation is audience. How do you access your audience? How do you reach out? How do people reach out to you? So before we go into that, now it's 3:24. We can take a 5 minutes break and then I'll see you back in the room.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Hani. Welcome back, everyone. It's exactly 3:30. So the next part of the conversation, as I mentioned, is to identify more steps that you can think of that you, through your experience, you have identified that could be something Cendana can create in creating this infrastructure and ecosystem that works better for artists and cultural workers. And I think we have a group here in this room that is pretty much, I think most of you, if not all, are multidisciplinary in some extent. And you have this wide range of experience of doing from paperwork to actually implementing programs in the creative space. So not just looking at funding right now, we also want to look at the audience. So in terms of reaching out to you has been a barrier. And especially in this COVID days, right? Not being able to reach out to people as how you might have been used to before the pandemic, and how you have probably developed some ways of being able to still do so, but how can Cendana really come in to provide that bigger support system? Yeah. And so we have to be mindful of the time as well. We have only 15 minutes to do this and to wrap up before we go back to the main room for the bigger discussion.
Can I share a bit about what Cendana can do, or what's lacking at Cendana right now is acknowledging the pillars of the arts itself, because right now they have visual art, performance art, music. What else? There's a few. but again, it's there is a lot of other, you know, pecahan, like small part of it. Even you just talk about visual art. Like for us, we do digital art and new media art, but there's no that specific category. And we all usually fall under visual art, but we actually not only do visual, we also do audio. So we then work with musician. So you know, they need to understand that there is much more bigger range of art. And right now it's all about multidisciplinary. You cannot just specifically say, okay, you know, performance art cannot co-work with visual art, because right now, like for us, a lot of digital artists, we all work with musician, with performers and stuff. So it always collaboration work. That's one thing, like acknowledging, you know, because whenever we again, like what Palan mentioned, when we fill up the form, we will like, shit, which one we fall into, you know, we are not
Box.
doing this, which box, right? So that's one thing that I feel lah. And I think I went to one of the talks also by CEO of Marketing Venture, and this looking at his reply during that time, he was like, you know, not looking at digital art as a mean right now, because what they're looking at more for local art culture works, like performance, local like traditional performance, traditional art craft and so on. Which is understandable, but I think at the same time you need to have that balance, because we have student and artists and designer who come out from universities right now not knowing what they need to do. But that's the thing, that they cannot separate all these things. Art works as general. If you separate, okay, we need to look into traditional art only, then you separate this new young talent going into that traditional realm. Like for example, we have our guitar artists who actually design something based on the traditional artwork itself, like wayang kulit with projection mapping. We can use gamelan with, you know, robotic arm and so on. So we have all this kind of stuff happening at our part, but we are very separated. So they don't really understand that the new way going forward is always about collaboration, and people need to work together. And you cannot just give him funding separately. Like if I want to get funding for visual art, can I still do a collaboration with other people? Of course I can, but still the funding itself it doesn't make sense. You know, fall into a specific category which it doesn't make sense at the first place. That's one thing. Secondly, what I think I mentioned previously is again we talk about networking is very important, and collaborating these two things. Like they have this range of people that they know. One thing, like to add also what Jeza mentioned, it's not that we don't know each other. It's just maybe we are not aware. Like, you know, we don't know, different culture have different collective, and different places have different collective and so on. If we the only way to do it is actually if we go out and put ourselves out there also lah, mostly through right now through social media. So ourselves, we put ourselves a lot in Instagram and Facebook. But if that collective doesn't do that, how did we going to find, right? So Chinanya have this access. What they can do is basically they need to have people who can actually understand and see how we can actually co-collaborate this, or even just open up this platform in an event ke, or you know whatever. I always believe in event because I went to event a lot, and that's where I actually meet and do networking. But right now, because of pandemic, we cannot really do that lah. But if you can actually create more event for people to collaborate, like it could be as simple as just audio visual jam, and we have a few collective from Penang all over the world, all over the Malaysia come together, and we have collective who do visual art all come together, and then we just jam lah. Musician will jam their own music, and we have visual at the back, something like that. I mean, we have all these kind of idea, but again, we have the limitation of knowing people lah. And that's the limitation. So I guess that's things that I think Schneider can look into and sort of like build up and expand from whatever program they already have right now. Like, again, whatever they have right now is already good. At least we have something before, you know, which is great. But I think we can actually do more lah, and we are all contributing to this. Touching another one that you mentioned just now, audience wise, we don't have, I mean, most of the audience that actually we connected to is, you know, this new young hip kind of audience, because what normally how they interact with our work is through Instagram picture. But I think that's one of the way how we can actually introduce other art form also into it, because it's very trendy, it's very fast paced. So we can actually bring in traditional, you know, we can actually mix in traditional element to also create awareness. So that's what we do actually at Filament. It's always about that. So and most of the time it's actually through event. So there's no, when there's no event, we cannot really approach our audience, and they cannot interact. And most of our work is immersive work. They go and watch the projection, they go into this room or projection mapping and so on. We cannot do that. But we do some project online. That's whatever we do right now. But I think the audiences, especially during the pandemic, is not really there. But we still actually try to produce whatever we can produce to make sure that we are there, and you know, we can still provide platform for a lot of other artists that we know to produce and do something, create something during this pandemic time now.
Thanks, Shakir. I think if I were to summarize some of the things that you mentioned, was really creating presence online. Despite not being able to attend events physically, there's still that avenue of running events online. But I think this also connects to what Straw mentioned earlier, probably creating a more collaborative online space, even a more curated space to put everyone together, different art practitioners in one platform. So you also have access to who's out there. So that admin part of it, Cendana kind of takes care of it, putting everything together, and you have that access. And even probably using that platform to create these events and to reach out to a wider audience. Thanks, Shakir. Anyone else want to go next?
I think just bouncing on what Shakir said, right? His 2 points about creating like a collaborative space for people within from different disciplines and stuff like that. I feel like maybe I know that the Create now has been revised and made much easier, but I feel like maybe more efforts like the Create now, where it's a short-term thing, a short-term playground they create, you know, for maybe artists between East and West Malaysia. You know, you want to bridge that gap, or you want to bridge people from different backgrounds. You know, I feel like they can curate that. Or even things like what Kongsi KL is doing with Seni Tiga. You know, maybe don't have the specific disciplines. Maybe leave it to 3 artists coming together and collaborating. But I feel like definitely creating, focusing more on playgrounds than galleries. I feel like something they can definitely do, especially now, because I feel like in the pandemic they want to help people, but they're still asking people to make work. And I feel like I don't think they understand that in the pandemic, artists are finding it very hard to make work. Everybody's very hard to whatever. So I feel like, why still stress on the work? Why not stress on collaborating and growing the artist, right? And like what Shakir said earlier, like I feel like through these kind of collaborations is when, like, personally I've experienced like growth in like audience or people interested in art, is when I collaborate with other people, and then there's this cross of our audiences, right? And it's very organic, and it's very because you know the work comes together and it pulls the people together. So I feel like by creating these playgrounds like Seni Tiga, you know, like the one in Virtual 360, they're definitely going to grow our audience. Also, I think another thing they're going to do by doing these playgrounds is they're going to be doing or taking care of a lot of the admin work. You know, so the artists come in, and then we collaborate and we create, but then the notes and the language, all that is left to the people who are what's the word, moderating. Yeah.
I think that's a good one. A very quick experience that I can share is there was once a film event that I attended, and the director mentioned in his sharing that he couldn't find a translator who can translate Tamil to English in Malaysia. And I just found it so mind-boggling. And I was Indian speaking, I can read, write. And I'm just thinking, like, is it that difficult for you to find one person who can do the job in Malaysia? He got someone from Singapore to do the job. So anyway, thanks, Palan.
Dalam fikiran saya, benda yang paling Cendana patut buat adalah memudahkan proses artis meminta duit. Itu yang paling senang lah. Kalau kita bercakap tentang perkara besar pun, Tapi kalau benda paling asas cendana tak boleh bagi, problem tak? Apa guna filament cross dengan projek Rabak, nak buat satu wall mapping, satu Ipoh punya, tapi tak boleh nak dapat duit kan. So problem lah. So saya rasa paling utama adalah bagaimana cendana harus memperbaiki bagaimana untuk memudahkan artis. Saya faham maksudnya bukanlah mudah yang macam senang sangat tapi bukanlah menyusahkan artis tu. So bila artis tengok, dia rasa oh ni aku boleh buat ni. So that benda lah kan, macam memudahkan, membantu, bukan nak memberi kita lagi macam pening kepala. Kita dah tak ada duit nak buat karya time pandemik. Lepas tu tengok dia punya paper, alamak pening kepala pula, nak susun ayat lah. Nasib ada option bahasa Melayu, bahasa Inggeris, bahasa Mandarin. Kalau semua bahasa Inggeris, orang yang tak kira English lah, memang tak boleh jadi apa kan. Jadi mungkin itulah memudahkan proses lah. Mengurangkan red tape, birokrasi.
Yeah, that was a good one. I think there are a lot of red tapes when it comes to accessing the funding, and then also providing you that space. So you can have all these like forms and funding, but you don't know if you're going to get it, right? And it could be how to say, just face value lah, lip service. We have all these.
Saya punya syak wasangka jahat mengatakan benda tu terjadi sebab orang atas cendana corporate man, business. Itu yang
Sokong, betul. Itu betul.
Jadi dia melihat grant tu sebagai still duit bisnes. Dia patutnya grant ni adalah duit ampau kan. Macam kita dapat daripada kerajaan, kita bagi kepada seniman untuk buat kerja. Dan cendana sendiri perlu melihat artis tu juga kan. Macam korang kena alert, oh artis ni memang ada nama. Ni kalau artis ada nama, nak minta pun susah. Sebab apa? Sebab orang cendana tak tahu betul ke Mamat ni buat ke dia nak songlak duit. Kan? So if korang alert dengan artis, so korang mesti akan tahu punya, oh aku bagi dia duit, confirm aku akan dapat artwork. So cendana sendiri dia kena letakkan kaki dia kat corporate tu of course lah, sebab dia punya kerja kan, tapi dia kena letak juga kaki dia dekat scene untuk dia faham betul-betul, not just letak macam sekali-sekala datang lipat you consider you part of the scene kan.
Yeah.
Hang kena be part of that scene, part of that ecosystem. Kan baru boleh faham kan benda tu. So itulah kot memudahkan proses dan merobohkan birokrasi.
Yep, that's a good one. Thanks Jezwan. So it's 3:45. We have 2 more people. So please, Hongji and Straw, we want to hear you from
Macam mana pukul 4 kan kita masuk main room?
3:45.
Tak, Juni baru hantar mesej tadi pukul 4.
Oh ya ke?
Yes, Juni also messaged me that we can enter the main room at 4.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I think the discussion is going hot everywhere else.
Yeah.
Hongji, take away. Yeah.
Everyone got something to say.
Okay, great. I really understand. I mean, artists we have our own perspectives, and also cendana sort of a bureaucracy that have their own perspective and also their agenda to judge things. So we are still, I think the conversation is actually to open up to find the possibility to get the bridge, to bridge the gap and see how we can achieve a balanced mindset on that. Because from what I'm thinking lately, we keep saying that art cannot earn living, it cannot sustain for long. We still need help from whatever it is. But then from what cendana is doing, that they are pumping in money, maybe one go, maybe a certain amount only, hoping you to generate your own income. That's one thing that actually triggers me to a certain point. I started to think, okay, from the project that I do, how much I won't say the artistic value from an artist who create works, it will certainly have some artistic benefits and also artistic value from the work it created. But then how, besides that, the artistic value, how we're going to promote this to the market and get some financial values out of it? That's one of the things that I'm constantly triggers a lot of thoughts in me lately, especially after dealing with cendana, with all those paperwork and all those come and back things. And then that's the part for the idea that I'm thinking for the time moment, maybe out of the topic a bit, but from what I'm going to share in here, what cendana can play a role in the upcoming 3 years time, maybe to create a better conversation with the government. I say, because the government actually has a lot of resources which actually run in their own system. For example, I've attended a talk with JKKN. They are offering assistance funds like grants also for ROS only bodies. How many organizations are running under ROS? We got RC, we got independent artists, then no one's qualified. Then how? Okay, then they're running in their own system. They think everything has to go to Persatuan only. Then who's gonna support those companies-based art organization and all collective yang tak ada ROC, ROS semua. And then also what exactly, how's the situation of the
Is Hongji
venues, a lot of sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Sorry, I think we lost you a bit.
Okay. And also I think under the government we have a lot of space to put into use. We can actually share the space out because they actually built on people's money. You're collecting tax, you're building buildings, infrastructures, but they're not using it. You close the door, out of a year, you only use for 5 days for one function, then then that's it. So those spaces are actually meant to be open to people, for artists, for the public to use. So I think it will be very beneficial. And also, yeah, they have invested money to build the infrastructure, to buy lighting, the soundboard and everything there, but then they just leave it to rot. So it's a waste of money. You're expecting government servant to maintain it with you. Why don't you hire a group of people with specialties to run it? So all around Malaysia, we have these kind of auditoriums and halls all around Malaysia, even in every state, and then maybe a few halls in one state. So if these places are put into good use in the future, we can actually benefit the artists to sort of organize event there, to do performance there, to have gigs there. Yeah, at least in a short-term time, get this ready, get the scene ready, the infrastructure, the hardware ready for all the artists who come once the pandemic is ready to kick off after that.
Yeah, thanks, Hongji. Those are a lot of points. And definitely, I think the spaces and generating income, and I personally like the one on how many artists are actually registered, right, under ROS or ROC. That's a bit ridiculous, but we can suggest them to sort of have a look at this again and probably remove that, because it really doesn't meet the community that they're supposed to serve. Yeah, thanks, Hongji. Next, Straw.
Yeah, I like the point that Hongji said about using public spaces as well. Integrating art into more like a daily life, more accessible to people. For me, maybe in the audience wise, I would think maybe Cendana, I don't know how much effort Cendana is actually doing to build audiences. So I don't know their Instagram or their Facebook page. Are those mostly just art practitioners, or what's the percentage of people who are actually just publics who really loves art? So maybe I think they can help build that system so that, I know it's our responsibility to build our audience as well, but that also takes a lot of effort. Like, you have to do your social media, you create graphics, you have to create engagement. If they have that resources and they have the time, have a team to build that as well for us, so that if we work on a project for Cendana, we know that there will be audience on top of our existing audience. So maybe they can do something to nurture the audience. I don't know what, I'm not educated, I'm not expert in this scene. Maybe they can do some programs, or they can make appreciating art more accessible, not just for orang atasan. So, art is not just like something you do out of leisure when you have extra money, extra time, but art actually has more value culturally, and maybe it could also contribute to the economy and building the nation as well. So like, help people to see that perspective, because I think my challenge is like to only reach out to people who already likes art. It's quite hard for us to like persuade people who has no exposure to art, unless you have events like what Shakil said, like you bring your friends who have never been to an art festival, you just bring them, and then they found out that they really like art and all that. So it's like bringing in new audiences rather than having the same group of people who has already, which is great, they are very supportive, that maybe we can have a wider audience. And as well as maybe like make art like fun, more like rewarding as well. Maybe they can create like a, you know, when you drink bubble tea, you can get stamps. You can do something for the audience, like, oh, when they support this artist, they get some kind of incentive, or like they can get tax reductions, or something that can help the audience to support us as well. So not just within the ecosystem, art practitioners support each other, but we can have audience as well. And we never know, like this audience, they probably don't know how to do art, they don't know how to do music, but they're actually very good at doing admin. Then we won't know whether they might want to join, you know, in to volunteer to help us with paperwork, or you can find more sponsors, you know. So I think we can widen our possibilities through like engaging with audiences as well. So yeah, more on the education side, nurturing the audience, because this will take a long time. So I would really hope that they will use their funding and resources to build something that's long term, that can help us sustain. Yeah, hope this makes sense.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I think building something that's long term is definitely something a systemic body has to look at, because you know they're governing that. So I think an example I brought up was school system, right? How we introduce art in school to children. I think it starts from there, because when you want to build mindset, you build from young.
I have
And
to
pretty much when people are
say
adult,
our current syllabus,
oh my God,
our
yeah.
current
So,
syllabus actually just kick them out of art scene.
yeah, exactly. So we want to, I think that's a very good one, and it is a long-term one. So something that we can advise Cendana is to probably, rather than just focusing on the artists and the cultural workers themselves, looking beyond this direct space or group, right? So looking at the audience and the people, really looking at the other stakeholders within that ecosystem, and what needs to be done within these other stakeholder groups. And I think a big one is with in the school, with just the public. I think someone recently shared with me about how in Singapore they do have this, was it introductory programs for public to sort of like be educated of art itself. What is art? So really introducing people to art in a more broader sense, that they can sort of start to make sense of what art is in terms of its concept and the meaning, and then really connecting them to the local artists and things like that. So I found that very interesting as well. So that's happening in Singapore, which is just next door. And it'd be interesting to see what can be done over here. And just hearing from all of you today, I can see that everyone is doing so much on your own. And I think that's why this conversation today is important, to see how a systemic body can help all these practitioners to come together in terms of creating that space that actually works and benefits the people it's supposed to serve.
Can I just add one more point?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yes. Sorry. I think Cendana can be like a uniting factor as well, like what Jizwan said, right? Like the Indonesians, they are used to growing up together, like do things together. Maybe Cendana can be that one that they can do. It can be that body who unites us. So like, you know, in the music scene, there's like Chinese scene, Malay scene, English scene, or like indigenous scene and all that. So maybe it can be a more inclusive space. Like for me, my dream is to go to a music festival and see all different kinds of race, not just because it's just a Chinese festival and then only Chinese go. Malay festival, only Malays. So I really like the Malaysian, you know, togetherness kind of feel. Maybe Cendana they have the resources to do it, and they can, you know, unite all of us together, not just, I mean, using art to unite all of us together. So yeah, that's my dream.
Yes, Palin. Thanks, Straw. Yeah.
Can I just bounce off what Straw and Hongji was saying, right, about using public spaces or being the body to bring people together? There's this example, maybe you could look into when you want to present to Cendana, right? There's this center called Center 104 in Paris. And it's a physical space, yes, but it's a public space that is basically a platform for anyone, any different experience level to come and experiment and create, right? So it's the playground. Of course, now public spaces and all, a very different discussion, but maybe Cendana can use this module to do things like that virtually. you know, like again create that platform to bring people together. And like, you know, these things are very real and being done for like the longest time. And also these things are also funded by the government. So I feel like they can maybe use these kind of examples to create their own programs. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one. And thanks for sharing the link as well. 3 minutes to 4. Any final words from everyone?
Because I think Cendana has a very close connection with the government, because and also government has a lot of resources, and it doesn't necessarily money. Their infrastructure, their access to a lot of things to help facilitate the whole thing out. So how to assist the government to give them a picture of how government bodies can put their resources together to amplify the effect of getting the art scene grown is one thing that is very, very good. I think Cendana can play a good part from that also, because we as individual artists, we have very limited access to the orang atasan. But then since they have the connection, then why don't they can pick a picture, create a picture for the government so that they can know, hey, I can actually put resources under different departments, different ministries to create a platform or share their resources so that it benefits the industry.
Yeah. Thanks, Hongji. Anyone else with final words with 2 minutes? Thank you. So that's about it. Thank you, everyone. I really want to take this opportunity to say thank you. I personally have a couple of pages of notes. I'm not sure how much Leo has as well, as he's been repertorying this whole process. And I definitely learned a lot from everyone as well. And it's a pleasure to, you know, have crossed paths. I'm sure once the borders open, especially, we will probably, you know, meet in person, and that'll be way better. I'm tired personally of this virtual space. Oh, 5 pages. Thanks, Leo. Yes, and we wish you all the best. And I know I'm just very glad to be part of this journey as well with Kongsi KL. I think there's a lot Cendana can do rather than just dumping money and asking artists to do paperwork, because artists are providing that value to the nation through their art. And if we create more barriers for artists and cultural workers, that's just going to defeat the purpose of having artists. So thank you for having me be part of the journey. And I think we can move to the main room for further discussions.